I was rear-ended with the vehicle behind me. Pickup rolled, ended up upright. Within 5 minutes, I'd say that they were there, got into the ambulance, went to the hospital, they did x-rays, and they said that I had a broken neck. Had it not been for them, that they had not done things in a proper manner, I could have either been deceased or could have been paralyzed from the neck down.
You get a different perspective on what's important in life, and you realize we're here to help people. When the pager goes off and you can hear the tone of the voice from the dispatch, especially if it's an accident, and you have that sinking feeling of, I've got to go do my job because this is what I signed up for, and the people that need the help, they're depending on us. When I started with the fire department, I thought of the trucks going out, right? The lights and sirens, ooh, the wow effect, grabbing a hose, spraying it on a fire, that's the fun stuff. The impact that it's had on myself when we were responding to accidents and there was a fatality, I wasn't ready for that. I think in the back of my head, I knew that was a part of it, but sometimes we just think, that will never happen to me. And it does. You see things that you would never want your wife or your kids or your friends to see. And I wasn't ready for that. Those are etched in my mind and they'll be there forever.
Being a wife of a Sioux Center fireman has been a joy and also has had its challenges. It's been an interesting experience, and we've just gotten to know the sacrifices and challenges that go along with that, but it's also an honor for him to be dedicated to his community for that.
Being a small town of 8,000, we need volunteers, and whether it's the fire department, whether it's the baseball coach, the Sunday school teacher, community this size does not function without volunteers. Because of the close-knitness of the group, and when you have calls and you function as a team, it's really a team atmosphere. And when you can do that, people want to be a part of that.
I think we see from a society standpoint, folks and people to volunteer for different services anymore becomes more and more difficult just because of that time away from their families, time away from their workplace, and not getting really much pay for it. So that's where we need more people to actually serve in those roles, because it's extremely important. If we don't have people that are able to hop on the trucks and go to those calls, we have a way bigger concern and situation that we have there.
As a volunteer department, there's 38 of us today. We all have what I'll call our daytime job. The support of the business community is phenomenal. And as I sit here and talk about that, it's something that we as a fire department probably don't do a good enough job of expressing the appreciation, but also the importance of that.
So one of the biggest benefits we have and why we can have a volunteer fire department is our business community. And they really allow their people to jump at a minute's notice and go to the station when the pager goes off. Without that, it gets tough to run a volunteer fire department.
There have been times that we have been at restaurants or the grocery store, or just sometimes that maybe aren't the most convenient, where I've gotten left at the restaurant. To be honest, it's like my heart sinks because it's not at the most convenient time, and it doesn't always feel like I want it to happen at that moment. But then my head quickly catches up to my heart, and I also know that if I was on the other end of that call, I know that being a community member, having a familiar group of people come show up for me in that emergency situation, their life also just changed in a big way.
Us as firemen, we have to have our best day when they're having their worst, really. Because if you're in a car accident and your life is on the line, we need to be top notch and on top of our game when we show up on that scene to make sure that nothing else happens and that you get to the hospital as soon as possible.
When you know people in situations like that, it's very comforting to know that they know what they're doing. They've taken the time out. They're practicing at all times, and for what they had, they did things in a way in which I could have been paralyzed if they had not probably had the proper training.
There's certain things that we have to do every year to cross off the list that we have to do for training. We knew we had this house. We'd set some ladders up, practice bailouts, and just different techniques of coming out the window.
I think the safety of it is always in the back of my mind when they leave on a call. Every once in a while I can catch a piece of what it says on the pager of what kind of call it is, and sometimes I don't. And especially in the middle of the night when he leaves so quickly, you don't always catch what it is. And a lot of times I just say a prayer, like keep them safe. I know that they train well, and a lot of that helps keep me calmer. I feel like they do a good job of keeping each other safe and a good job of just knowing what their limits are.
Yeah, down in the basement they were doing, if we had a down firefighter that was running out of air,
He's low on air now.
bringing in a new tank to put that on them, to get them air, to fill their bottle or go off of that one in order to get them out. They are a lot of fun, and they're few and far between because we can't burn in town anymore. So if we can get one out of town that isn't totaled out, that we still have solid floors, solid walls that we can train in, we try to invite different towns, invite all of our guys to get out there so we can get in the heavy smoke, get in the flame, feel some heat, and actually get to spray some water on some fire.
You know, we'll probably put crews in and out here for, I'd say, an hour. That's awesome. And then we'll start to burn it. What we'll do is we'll start the fire in the basement and then have channels where it could come up through the house. Because what we want to do is we want to get, you don't want the top to burn off and then you have all the stuff underneath it. So you want to get it hot underneath, have the heat go up, that burns off and everything falls in. So we're going to start in the south room because there's a bunch of papers and pallets down there. We're going to light that. Then we're going to go into this room in the basement and light that. And then we're going to come up and we're going to light right where that guy's standing in the kitchen, and we're just going to let it go. Because by then, by the time we get to there, they're going to be flames shooting out of there.
As I look back and reflect on my 25 years, that being a volunteer department, having volunteer members, and when the pager goes off, we're not coming here for a paycheck. We're coming here to serve, we're coming here to help, we're coming here to go to those in need.
It's definitely a sacrifice. You might have to miss a concert, you might have to have an interrupted birthday party, you might have to miss a Christmas party or have an event cut short, and that's just the fact of the matter.
When people approach you and say, after a bad fire, bad accident, it's like, wow, I could never do that. There's like a pride, like, oh, you know, it makes you happy with what you do. But at the same time, I have that as well. I can't be a kindergarten teacher, right? I would go up to a kindergarten teacher, I'm like, wow, how do you do that? I don't know how you get through a day. So I think there's the uniqueness of all these professions and all these roles. We're all given gifts that help us excel and help us achieve and help us deliver.
And the individuals that came through there being able to volunteer, and that's rewarding to see the community come together and do those things. That doesn't happen in every town or community.